Hands up if you're a human. Good. Yeah, I guess we'd have a majority, so I pre-ticked that box. Is there anyone in here who has to go to work? Good. 2 ticks, well done. So, those of you who have to go to work, Sunday evening comes around, hands up if you're thinking, yes, Monday's here again, the weekend has been dragging on for too long, I can't wait to get back to the office. Good, a couple, okay. Anyone in here a bit more indifferent about that? Like, they don't totally hate work, but you'd much rather be doing something else. Okay, anyone really hate work? You do not want to go. Okay, well, not many, but actually you're in the minority because most people don't like work. In fact, 70% of us hate going to work. So why is that? Well, I think there's 2 reasons for that. You can call them problems or solutions, depending on how optimistic you are. Culture and design. So culture, what I mean by this is the behavior, the values, and the personality of the group of people that you work with or the company that you work for. Now this, of course, is hugely important. There's been a study done by the guys at Harvard, and they studied 200 companies over a 10-year period with different cultures. Some with really good cultures, some with really bad cultures, and they were able to measure their turnover, and it was a big difference. So really, really important. Design is office planning aligned with today's way of working, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about that later on. There's a US firm called Gensler, in fact the world's biggest architecture firm, and they study things like this, and they say that if you design your office to align with the way that people want to work and how your company works, then your turnover can go up 20% a year. So again, hugely important. So, when is a ukulele a ukulele? When it's a ukulele? Well, if you buy a ukulele, you have got a piece of wood with a hole in it that does nothing. Sorry? Oh, brilliant. When it's played. So, you've got the design of a piece of wood with a hole in it. You need the culture, which is the practice, the lessons, the playing and the improving. And you add them together, and that's when you've got a ukulele. Otherwise, you've got a piece of wood with a hole in it, lives under your bed. What are businesses at their core? Does anyone know? I'm looking for one word. Did you say that, John? Yeah, you've been to this talk already. You can't answer. Yeah, they're human beings. So, at their core, businesses are just groups of people interacting with other humans. That's all they are. So, what are humans? Slightly more profound, but we're all these things. Tired, healthy, stressed, anxious, nuts, sad, creative, considerate. And we're all these things at different times. But wouldn't you rather work with the good list? People who came from the good list rather than the bad list. And I know that, you know, this fluid, we're all these things at different times, but we would be much happier if we worked with people who were healthy, compassionate, happy, sensible, rational, loving, kind, thoughtful, considerate, creative, caring and responsible, I'm sure. Ah, good, bad. So, why do businesses exist? Come on, we all know the answer to this. To make money, yes. And how do businesses make money? Sorry? No. They have to sell stuff. That's right. How do businesses let people know they've got something to sell? Marketing, yes. Can anyone tell me what marketing is?
Telling the world you're here.
Yes, that's right. So I actually did this talk to a bunch of school children, and there was one little girl and I said, "Oh, kids, do you know what marketing is?" expecting them all to go, "Ooh, no." And one little girl said, "Yeah, I know what marketing is. It's saying, 'Hello, here I am.'" And I thought that was the best definition of marketing I'd ever heard. So, what makes your marketing good or bad? Yeah, it's the brand of your business. It's another word for brand is personality, the intention, the culture, and the values of your business. But we've just discussed that businesses are actually humans. So it's not the personality of your business, it's actually the personality of your humans. So you switch this round. If you've got humans with great personalities, you've got a business with a great personality. And if you've got a business with a great personality, when you stand in the street and say, "Hello, here I am," it acts like a massive magnet because people can very clearly see your personality, and if they share the same personality as you, they will want to come and be your clients or work for you, and you'll be able to sell more stuff and you'll be able to make more money. So, the top 3 things that humans want from their job. Purpose. They want to feel like they're working towards something as a group. They want to feel safe, feel they belong to the group, and they want to feel valued. Pretty much the same things you'd want from your friends or from your family. Some flies around here. So the solution to the culture problem is you have to invest in your humans. Design problem. So I'm going to give you a brief history of the office. So this obviously is a factory. So offices have only been around sort of about 200 years, I suppose, and before the office was around, there were factories, and factories grew and grew and got bigger and bigger and sold more and more stuff to more and more people. And the more stuff you sell to more people, the more admin you have to do. So the owners of these factories realized they needed some space to do all this admin. And they used the factory template to design their offices. And you can see here, this is the Larkin Soap building. It's quite a famous building designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, turn of the 19th century, 1902 or 1903. And you can see it's rows and rows of people doing mundane, boring, repetitive tasks because there was no technology. So if you wanted to write a letter to your 10,000 customers, you couldn't just stick it in the photocopier. And then the working world progressed for about 150 years, very, very, very slowly changing, but it's pretty much the same until this guy came along, Robert Probst. And he worked for a company called Herman Miller, which is an interior design company in America. And he said, look, this open plan office way of working, lines and lines of desks, is just ridiculous. Like, it's a horrible, horrible place to work. And he wanted to change it. And he designed this, Action Office, which is a customizable office system for humans. And you can see, look, here it's like stand-up desk and a little sitting-down desk with a telephone, and it was completely revolutionary. In fact, so revolutionary, it featured in this film. Does anyone, apart from John Gollop, know what film this is? 2001: A Space Odyssey. So futuristic, in fact, was this office system that nobody bought it, and it was a massive flop. And so Robert Probst, undeterred, came up with Action Office 2. And this time it came with a handbook to tell people how to use it. And it also had these things, dividers. And of course, people loved dividers because they could create offices that look like this. And so you've got the worst of both worlds. You've got an open plan office with all the noise and disruption, and you've got the solitude of your own little cubicle. And I feel especially sorry for the guy who works in this cubicle because he doesn't even have a door. So now we've gone back to open plan offices that look like this. And you can imagine that is a fairly chaotic place to work. So open plan offices are bad for concentration, they're bad for performance, and they reduce job satisfaction. As we've just touched on earlier, the way we work has massively changed. So 200 years ago, we had no technology. Nowadays, we've got loads and loads of tech. The computers, internet, they have removed all the mundane, repetitive work that we had to do. And now, today's work is known as knowledge work. And so we go back to this company called Genza, who I spoke about earlier, and they study these things. And they say that today there's really 4 modes that are needed in the modern day office. People go to work to learn, to socialize, to collaborate, and to focus. Does anyone want to have a guess at which one is the most important? Socializing? Of course you're right. No, you're wrong. It should be. It's focus. Yeah, it's focus, because there's no repetitive work anymore. The work we do today is creative, and it's sort of design-led. I don't mean design-led as in like in the... What do you do, Tom? Design, lots of design. So PF+A do lots of design, but I don't just mean that design like that. Everything that everyone does in the office these days is all about designing things, like even designing a new way to structure a mortgage. And if you can't focus on that, then you're a lot less likely to turn around and collaborate with an employee or socialize or help someone out when they're stuck, because you're going to be frustrated. So the solution to design is you've got to create these different work zones in your office. You've got to promote movement. You've got to create a comfortable home-like environment and a casual atmosphere. And then you combine the culture and the design, and you get a ukulele, as well as productivity increases. Costs are quickly paid back. You make a lot more money as a business, and you have happier staff. So why do businesses exist? We looked at this earlier. But why should businesses exist? And they should exist to invest here with their humans, because you invest on your humans, you go through your pathways, and you make more money. But also, you have happier humans. And happier humans lead to happier families. And happier families lead to happier neighbours. And happier neighbours lead to happier streets. And happier streets lead to happier communities. So, my top tip to improving culture, because this is not someone else's problem. This is not the States of Guernsey's problem. This is not your employer's problem. This isn't your boss's problem. We all have to take responsibility for this. So my top tip to improve culture within your group of friends and networks, what am I trying to say there? Your friends, your work life and your families, is to touch each other. Thank you very much.